When Jerry and I came here 7 years ago, we had a goal. We needed to end the effing drought. We did it.
Welcome to Baseball Biz. I'm Mark Herbert, your host, and man, do we have a show for you. I mean, let's look at it. There's only a couple games left, and it's just exciting. Well, that's Scott Servais sharing his excitement about what's going on in Seattle. The Mariners, man, they're breaking some records. A lot happening with them. Man, are they glad to clinch a spot with the wild card in the American League? And I'm going to break some of that down for you in a minute. Just who is going to be playing and where, or where we expect they might be. Who is clinched in the American League and who's clinched in the National League. We'll take a little look, too, maybe at what's happening with the MVP and Cy Young possibilities. Plus, there's been some movement. Movement from, like, Don Mattingly. Movement from Charlie Morton. Some of that movement is actually leaving the premises, and other ones is bringing in some more money or getting paid a bit more with the contract. We'll talk about all of that on this edition of Baseball Biz. Okay, let's crack it open on what we have for the season thus far. The season thus far, 162 games, 160 of which have been played. Let's begin with the American League. If we go division by division, you'll see that the Yankees have indeed clinched their spot as the AL East division winners. At this point, they have 98 wins and 61 losses. Going down the list there, you see Blue Jays and Rays. Both of those teams have also clinched wild card position. So AL East is going to be kind of busy with three of the teams there in the playoffs. As we scroll on down to the AL Central, you're going to see that the Guardians have been doing well. They have clinched the division title for the AL Central with 90 wins and 70 losses thus far. So they got two more games on the burner. Chicago White Sox, who I had great hopes for this year, didn't quite get there. They've been experiencing a lot of troubles. Obviously, even with manager Tony LaRussa, he's going to be leaving, as we well know. Maybe we'll talk a little more about that. But they did close with a winning season. I mean, 80-80, that does get you to 500. We go to the AL West. Wow. The Astros. They hit the century mark, a while back, a few games, and they're all the way up to 104 wins and 56 losses, giving them a winning percentage of .650. That is huge. And when you look at that, it's interesting to see, where the Yankees were leading the American League earlier on, the Astros now do with that 104 win in the column there. So kudos to the Astros, whatever you may think about their past. But who comes in underneath them? Well, guess what? The next team is the Mariners, the Seattle Mariners. Yes, and that's why Scott Servais was so excited when they clinched the wild card position. And that hadn't been done in a while. To give you an idea of how long it's been since the Mariners have actually been in the playoffs, if you were born the last time the Mariners were in the playoffs, you could actually buy beer now. It's been 21 years, folks, so you've been able to drive for a few years, and you can probably drink beverages, alcoholic or otherwise. Just don't do both simultaneously. It is a time to celebrate. I understand why Scott Servais says what he does. It's been too effing long, and it's they were due, and I'm glad that they've gotten it. So I'm excited about that. Curious to see how all that's going to be able to play out. And, if the Astros weren't the Astros, and Dusty Baker hadn't been doing what he's been doing, and Altuve hadn't been doing what he's been doing, well, I think the Mariners would have done better, and they could have potentially taken, the AL West. But, I mean, it was nothing but fun to watch this team, and to see Cal Raleigh have that walk-off home run to clinch, to make sure that the Mariners did indeed have a place on the wild card. One more thing about this I want to say. We talked a lot about Aaron Judge and the home run race and all that. And, indeed, he did catch up with Roger Maris Don't know if they might as well let him have another home run in the last remaining games of the regular season. But I was encouraged by the young fan who gave the 60th ball to Aaron Judge and the 61st ball, which fell into the dugout, and they gave that to Aaron Judge. But Cal Raleigh of the Mariners, when he hit that home run ball, a young fan did catch that ball. And you know what he charged? Just like that young fan with the Yankees, he charged absolutely nothing. He just wanted to be able to hand that ball to Cal Raleigh and say thank you as a fan to him. What a great way for a fan to celebrate entering into the postseason with the Mariners than just handing a gift over to the player who made it all possible, Cal Raleigh. Whoa! Collectors everywhere are slowly dying, saying, man, I would love to have that ball. I'd love to put that on the market. I'd gone home right away and put it on eBay or something. Again, kudos to that young fan for handing the ball over to Cal Raleigh. He did get a signed bat and a ball, but I think they should give him season tickets too. So let's keep around and see what the Mariners do as we move into the postseason. So to summarize, who has won what in the American League? Well, the Astros, they've won their division in the West. The Yankees, they've won their division in the East. Central, the Cleveland Guardians have won that. So in the American League, we've got those three division leaders. In the wild card, there's only going to be three other teams. All three of those positions have been clinched as well. And they go to the Mariners, the Blue Jays, and the Tampa Bay Rays. It's going to be fun to watch. We'll talk about how and where you can watch some of these probably in an upcoming episode. We're probably going to read 2 or 3 episodes this week because there's just so much to cover in such a short little amount of time as we get ready to enter postseason. So let's take a look at what's actually happening with the National League, their standings and their wild cards. If we just go down through the standings, not surprisingly, there's actually 2 teams that have hit over 100. The other day, the Braves hit 100, and they are currently leading but do not own the NL East. And actually, in NL East, the Braves and Mets are kind of fighting it out. We'll get a little bit more into the details of that. Yesterday, the Phillies clinched a spot in the wild card. They're also in the NL East. We go to NL Central. We've got the Cardinals. They have clinched and own the NL Central Division, as the Brewers are 7 games back. I really had a lot of high hopes for the Brewers, but it just did not completely materialize. They had a .531 winning season. If we go down to NL West, everybody could have put their pin pads down and gone home long ago as far as who was going to win that. Dodgers hit a century mark, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. They've got over 110 wins thus far this season, only 50 losses. They've got a .688 winning percentage. Whoa. It's the team behind them in the NL West, the Padres. The Padres now, they've clinched a wild card. But the Padres, as far as getting NL West winning it, no, it wasn't going to happen. They are 22 games behind the Dodgers. And let's see, what else can we say about that? Looking at the wild card and what would happen in the National League, so again, Milwaukee was just within a breath of staying as a wild card viable candidate, but it didn't happen because in the wild card again, you got right now it's going to be the Mets, San Diego, and Philadelphia. But in truth, we don't have anything final about who's going to win the NL East. Will it be the Braves? Will it be the Mets? I don't know. I feel fairly confident it's going to be the Braves. So it'll probably be the Mets, San Diego, and Philadelphia as the wild cards. Talking about the Atlanta Braves, it's worth noting that their ace, Charlie Morton, has just re-signed, not resigned. He has signed up again for another year with the Atlanta Braves, which means they love him a lot, or otherwise wouldn't be giving him another $20 million. Huge, huge, huge sign. Give you kind of a quick breakdown of what Charlie is about. Some of this is from a Forbes article. I like it because this came out, just over this past weekend while the Braves were facing off against the Mets. Hopefully it gives a little bit of a excitement and push within the team and certainly with the fan base knowing that Charlie's going to be back. The things you got to remember about Charlie, he's been working across several different teams. He started out with the Braves, though in the beginning of his career, they traded him elsewhere. From the Forbes article, they mentioned, of course, that he was the first Braves pitcher with consecutive 200 strikeout seasons since Hall of Famer John Smoltz did it in 1996 and 1997. Well, that's longer than it's been since the Mariners, right? Since the Mariners have been in there. Charlie's pitched for the Pirates, the Phillies, the Astros, the Rays, and the Braves. He's done a wonderful job. I think he's been an all-star player a couple of years. Let's see, he won World Series rings in 2017 with the Astros and 2021 with the Braves. I had really hoped he would have been able to do that with the Rays while he was in Tampa, but that didn't happen. He had an injury last year when a ball he threw came right back at him and fractured his fibula. Anyway it goes, Charlie is the guy you want to have on the mound, and I'm just really glad to see that Travis d'Arnaud, when he left the Rays, that both of them wound up at the Braves, and both of them are still there. I love watching that combination. I want to pause here for a moment and talk just a second about the Phillies. One of my favorite managers was leading up this team early on in the year, and that was Joe Girardi. Had great expectations for what was going to happen with the Phillies this year, but it just didn't pan out. He was on June 3rd, I believe. That was the day that they said, bye-bye. We don't need you here, Joe. And after that, they brought Rob Thompson in as interim manager. Rob, he's brought things back to life. After Girardi left, Thompson came in, and he altered the future for the Phillies. He came back and they had a 65-44 record, a nice winning record of about .596 underneath his leadership. Another thing that kind of made some challenges for the Phillies this year was Bryce Harper. He got injured. He's been out, he was out from June 26th to August 25th. And if you got a player like Bryce Harper, one of the highest paid players in the game, you're paying him for a reason, and that's results. So when he can't be out there at the bat making those kind of results for you, it hurts. Earlier we were saying that if you were born the last time that the Seattle Mariners had made it to the playoffs, you'd be 21 years old. Let's take that same equation and put it in with the Phillies. You wouldn't be 21 years old. No, actually, you would be quite a bit younger, but you'd be an 11-year-old child. So it's been 11 years since the Phillies have made it to the playoffs. A lot of excitement there, as you might well imagine. Here are some of the words that Rob Thompson shared with his team after the win the other night that took them to the wild card playoffs.
You have no idea what this means to this organization, to our fan base, to the city. So you guys have been fabulous. We didn't come here just to be here tonight. There's no reason why we can't just keep on going from here, guys. Come on. So relax, believe in yourselves, believe in each other, and play fearlessly.
Play fearlessly. That sounds like great advice from any manager to his team. So we'll see what happens with those Phillies as they progress to the postseason. So this is going to be a shorter version of Baseball Biz because, like I said, there's so much going on, and I don't want to throw it all out in one big chunk. Let's summarize what we know right now, Tuesday, October 4th. The NL East is still up for grabs between the Braves and the Mets. It doesn't look like there's going to be much chance of the Mets getting it. Therefore, there are 3 teams there that will be in the postseason for the National League: Braves, Mets, Phillies. NL Central, the Cardinals. And I want to do a little bit more probably on another episode this week on who's leaving and who's staying and who needs a great salute from the Cardinals. Brewers are not going to be there. Cubs are not going to be there. Pirates and Reds are not going to be there. NL West, the no doubt Dodgers are going to be there. They have won the NL West. They have 110 games on their winning charter. The Padres are going to be there now. They've got 88 wins. They got a .550 average, and they are going to be there. So who is going to be in the final World Series after we get past the wild card games, the division series? I don't know. Who would I like to see? I would probably say, of course, the Rays. If I couldn't have my Rays, then it would not be Astros, Mariners. I would probably be, I guess, the Blue Jays. We'll see. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Baseball Biz. It's a short one, but we wanted to kind of give you guys an update. What's happening as we get close to entering the postseason? Just a couple of more games. Actually, there's some double headers being played right now. I'm hoping to catch a couple of those. And we're going to talk a little bit more with some of our other guests here on upcoming episodes about the postseason and share their ideas with you as well. We didn't get to cover everything I wanted to in this episode. I wanted to talk about Don Mattingly and Shohei Ohtani, the MVP and Cy Young Award winner. And we certainly will address those in the next couple of episodes. So stay tuned. This is a short one, so it may be right after this. And just remember, you can find us here. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Oh, gosh, there's so many of them out there. Well, wherever you're listening to us, go ahead and like us, love us. If you want to send us a comment, you can do so on most of those, including the Apple Podcasts. Or you can send something to me on Twitter at @TheBaseballBiz. I'm Mark, and I'd love to hear from you guys, and hope you're enjoying the close of this fantastic 2022 regular baseball season. Look forward to talking with you guys again real soon. Special thanks to XTakeRUX for the music rocking forward.